Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with random reviews from the Overflow room. Gotta have the gong, don't you? And we are continuing our survey of Bohuslav Martinu. I still think, at the end of the day, he was, or has been, or ought to have been, the great discovery of the 20th century, the really major composer who ought to be in the mainstream and is sort of kind of almost there. We just need to give him a little more of a push. He's such a fine composer. He should be at least as well known as like Shostakovich or Prokofiev or Copland or, those people who get played regularly and people know the names. And even if he's not your favorite composer, because he's really up there. He really is. So let's go through the latest batch. I've got tons of his music. I really do. I'm very glad. Karel Ancherl's Czech Philharmonic Martinu recordings on Supraphon. This particular disc contains the Piano Concerto No. 3 with Joseph Palanicek, who's a wonderful pianist, and the Bouquet of Flowers, which is an incredible cantata for chorus and chamber orchestra that should be as popular as Carmina Burana. It's, gruesome Czech folk tales, his sister a poisoner, and the little girl cowherds, and man and death, and it's just wonderful. The music is fantastic. This performance is mono, and the sonics are a little bit dim. Fortunately, there's a modern stereo recording out, which I have reviewed on this channel. But Ancherl's Martinu was fabulous. And the interesting thing is, playing Martinu when Ancherl had the Czech Phil in the 50s and up to the mid-60s, was really quite daring, because Martinu was verboten. He was on the outs with the communist authorities, having left Czechoslovakia, in the 1920s, and never to return after the communist revolution there. So it was a bold thing. And one of the reasons I think A Bouquet of Flowers got recorded is because it's as close to an almost quasi-socialist realist piece as Martinu ever got. And it's a Czech nationalist work. It's probably a mistake to call it socialist realist because it's not simplistic music, but it is folk inspired, and so at least that was an excuse. I'm not sure if that was the case, but I'm just speculating. Anyway, it's on Supraphon and it's terrific, as is this marvelous disc, Symphony No. 5 and 6, the Fantasy Symphony. This is also mono, and the Memorial to Lidice. Lidice was a village that was destroyed by the Nazis after the assassination of a Nazi official in the Czech lands, and they razed that place to the ground. And Martinu wrote this incredibly beautiful and moving work. It's only 8.5 minutes long. It's not one of those Threnody things that wears its heart on its sleeve. It's very touching. It's a noble work, which climaxes with a terrifying evocation of Beethoven's Fifth. It's really powerful stuff. And this is a hot performance by a guy who survived the Nazi concentration camps after his family was obliterated. And so it obviously meant something to Ancherl. An amazing recording, also on Supraphon. Then we've got opera suites and excerpts with Neumann and the Czech Phil and the Brno State Philharmonic under František Žílek, who was a very good conductor. We have the orchestral suite from the opera Giulietta, which is arguably Martinu's operatic masterpiece, and it's fabulous. And the orchestral suite from Theater Behind the Gate. 22 minutes worth of music. It's a big piece. Interesting, isn't it? Who knows the opera? And the suite from Comedy on the Bridge, which is adorable. It's only 5 minutes long. The Departure, a symphonic interlude from the opera The Three Wishes, which is a big interlude. It's 11 minutes long. It's a major movement. And the Saltarello from the opera Mirandolina. This is good stuff, too. So interesting. There's so much good Martinu and so characterful and an abundance of styles. It's just delicious. What we've got here, Capricio Tabia Zimmerman. Oh, she's an amazing violist. With the Gerstner Orchestra Köln under James Conlon, who had two lovely Martinu discs on Erato. I'm sure we'll get to them if we haven't already. The Rhapsody, oh my goodness, the Rhapsody Concerto for viola and orchestra, the concert for piano trio and string orchestra, one of those wonderful little neoclassical suckers, the concertino for piano trio and string orchestra, which is similar to the concert, although it's shorter, slightly shorter, and the memorial to Lidice, again. Really a lovely disc on, it's a DSD, what you call it, direct stream digital surround sound super audio hybrid thing. Yeah, so that's cool. And then there's this thing on BIS. Oh, this is wonderful. Martinu Violin Concertos 1 and 2 with Frank Peter Zimmermann, who's a tremendous violinist, and the Bamberg Symphony under Jakob Ruscha. Now, the Bamberg Symphony, you may recall, was the orchestra of the Sudetenland Deutsch, the German orchestra in the Czech lands. And after the Anschluss thing happened, and Germany invaded Czechoslovakia, the entire orchestra decamped to Bamberg and became the Bamberg Symphony Orchestra. They were the German-speaking Czech orchestra. So they have a tradition of playing Czech music. Violin Concertos 1 and 2 are wonderful works. Number 1 is a zippy neoclassical piece. Number 2 is a big, heavy, romantic thing. I think it was written for Misha Elman or someone like that. A big, juicy, romantic work. Gorgeous piece. So, and these are wonderful performances on BIS, so that's a great disc. And we've got, I've got like a dozen copies of this. This is so wonderful. This is Falla, Nights in the Gardens of Spain, and Martinu's 5th Piano Concerto with Margaret Weber and Raphael Kubelik. The 5th concerto was marked Fantasia Concertante. It's a nice, gnarly, exciting piece. The first movement has some knotty bits, but after that it's all smooth sailing and delightful. And it's one of the great Nights in the Gardens of Spain. It really is. And then we've got Cherepnin's 10 Bagatelles for piano and orchestra, and Weber's Concertstück, also with Margaret Weber. Margaret Weber was really a good pianist. She was married to a wealthy industrialist who paid for a lot of stuff for her to do and commissioned Stravinsky's movements for piano and orchestra, which she also recorded. And this is just a wonderful disc. The other pieces, the Cherepnin and Weber, are with Berlin Radio and Ferenc Fricsay. So you can't go wrong with that one. I've got a bunch of those. And this, Rudolf Firkushny, the fabulous Rudolf Firkushny, doing music that was written for him. Actually, the Fantasy and Toccata by Martinu was, I think, written for Firkushny, yes, I have to pronounce that right. And the first piano sonata, there was never a 2, I don't think. Les Ritournelles, which is delicious. A bit of music from the opera Giulietta and some of the etudes and polkas. I mean, Firkushny played this like nobody else, and nobody else was playing it in the West. So thank God he lived to make these records for RCA before he passed away. He made 3 of them. He did some concertos, he did this, and he did Janacek piano music as well, at a minimum. So that's really, really great. Oh, pardon me, 4, because there was this fabulous disc of the Martinu Cello Sonatas with Janos Starker. Yeah, you don't want to forget that. These cello sonatas are fantastic. I mean, cellists know that. Cellists know these works. And if you are a cellist and you don't know these works, get with the program because they're just tremendous. So that's at RCA, and it's great. And then we've got some very interesting stuff here. We've got the second violin sonata and 5 madrigal stanzas, which is a very interesting piece, and the third violin sonata. Big works, serious works with Josef Suk and Josef Halle. I mean, these are self-recommending on Superfund. I mean, Superfund needs to do a big Martinu edition. They just need to box it all up and throw it out there because there's so much great stuff. Like this, for example. This is Christopher Hogwood with the Czech Phil. Hogwood, like I said before, in his Loiselier disc with the St. Paul Chamber Orchestra, he was smart in his conducting. He chose neoclassical and neo-Baroque music that he could conduct rather than the same way he did real Baroque music. And it didn't require a lot of romantic indulgence and the, idiosyncratic personality of the performer, because that was not Hogwood's thing. And it wasn't so much Martinu's either, at least not in a lot of his music. And these works are fabulous. We have the Ballet Mécanique, L'Arrêt Merveilleux. Then we've got La Revue de Cuisine, that lovely little jazz ballet with the Charleston choo 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 cha 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 da 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 ba da ba da 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 da. Oh, it's great. And then On Tourne, ballet in one act. These are like jazzy, zippy, motoric, neoclassical pieces, and the performances are terrific. So there you have it. A wonderful selection of Martinu. Oh my goodness, we got chamber music, we got piano music, we got ballets, we have orchestral masterpieces. It's just endless. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me. Take care.